Alright guys, so Nintendo decided to drop the first trailer for the Nintendo Switch 2 today, and if you've been sort of keeping up to date with any of the leaks that have been going around, the prototypes and accessories that were leaked at CES, companies like Genki have been showing off full renders of the Switch 2, so I think for anyone keeping up to date with what's going on with the Switch 2, today wasn't very exciting. Essentially, Nintendo dropped a reveal trailer just showing the hardware off, and that's what a lot of leakers have been predicting essentially. All it was today was showing what the Switch 2 looks like, showing off the magnetic Joy-Cons, showing the bigger screen. We got about 5 seconds of Mario Kart gameplay, but we don't know what Mario Kart that was. And to be honest, all this trailer really did for us was just confirm the leaks that had been going around all over the internet. It is nice to see that Nintendo have shown off the Switch and we finally know 100% what it looks like. Now we still don't have too much information about the hardware behind it, what kind of performance we can expect with the Switch 2. I can imagine we'll see a lot more details in terms of software and games and performance in general about the Switch 2 when Nintendo do their Nintendo Direct in April. But I've got to be honest, I'm so excited for the Switch 2 because I love the concept of the Nintendo Switch. Being able to have a console that you can plug into your TV but also just take on the go with you, that has the convenience of a console without having to deal with what other handhelds have to deal with Windows and other workarounds like that. Having a console that just works is really, really good. So if you haven't seen the trailer already, it essentially starts by showing the Switch 1, as we've seen before of course, and then it transforms into the Switch 2. And to be honest, it was a very cool reveal trailer. I really like the look of the new magnetic Joy-Cons on the Switch 2. I think it's going to be a massive improvement for durability as well, because one of the massive problems with the Switch 1 at the moment is just Joy-Cons, after snapping them on and off so many times, it just starts losing its connection, so it just slides off without sticking. That also happened if you put your Switch Joy-Cons on the wrong way around as well. Apparently people were doing that and breaking it that way, so that was one of the major problems as well. Hopefully the magnetic Joy-Cons are just going to get rid of all these problems completely. I'm just hoping that these magnetic Joy-Cons don't cause more problems in the future with like loose connectivity and things like that. I can't imagine it's going to do, because if this works well, this is going to be a massive improvement just for the convenience of taking them on and off, but also just durability long term as well. And before this trailer was announced as well, obviously we saw lots of leaks around the controllers and different renders for the Switch 2, but there was many rumours / leaks going around that on the side of the Joy-Cons there would be like a sensor that could be used for a mouse. This part of the trailer really just confirmed that this could be used as sort of like a mouse kind of thing. I don't think it's going to be a mouse like the Legion Go for example, but I think this will be definitely used with your more Nintendo interactive games like Wii Sports and games like we got on the Switch 1 like 1-2 Switch. I think those kind of mini games are going to be where this is used. It might be one of those things that we just don't see used at all, and I'm fully expecting that to be the case. But you know, nice new feature. Hopefully it's quite useful, but only time will tell. The one thing that was nice to see Nintendo confirm that we sort of already knew, but just to see it in writing, was the fact that all Switch 1 games will be compatible with the Switch 2. And I think that's really good, because if people with cartridges or digital copies of games that are on the Switch 1, they're not going to have to keep playing on the Switch 1. You can just get your Switch 2 and it'll all work. There might be a few games out there like 1-2 Switch, or just certain games that required the Joy-Con for the Switch 1 that might not fully work on the Switch 2, but I think it's going to be like 0.1% of the games on Switch that aren't going to work. All of the games are probably just going to run better. So I'm really looking forward to using backwards compatibility on the Switch 2. I think that's a massive feature that I don't think Nintendo were ever not going to do, because you don't want to give people a reason not to buy a Switch 2. But it's just nice to see that confirmed. I'm not going to lie though, I got super excited at the end of the reveal trailer, because as it showed the date, the 2nd of April 2025, I thought that was going to be the release date, not the next Nintendo Direct, where we're probably going to not hear anything about the Switch 2 until that point. I was super excited. I looked at that date and I was like, oh my god, is it coming out on the 2nd of April? Yeah, no, I don't think that's the case. I think that's just when they're going to next talk about it, show off some software, probably get to see the UI and the home screen on that date. But I think it's going to be silence until April, which is kind of sad. I was hoping to see an April/May release, but maybe we'll see it in June or July. But until then, I guess we just have to wait for more leaks to find out more about the Switch 2. But let me know down below what you think about the Switch 2. If you're going to get one, let me know. But I'm super excited for the Switch 2, because the Nintendo Switch 1 for me was the first Nintendo console that started to see full games, like proper games, third-party games I'm talking about, that would normally be on the Xbox or the PlayStation, actually on the Switch. The problem was, the Switch 1 had very little power to play with, so games like, for example, Apex Legends, Overwatch 2, FIFA, or EAFC now. But games like that are now full ports on the Nintendo Switch. They're not watered down versions like we used to get on the Nintendo Wii and the Nintendo Wii U and DS and things like that. These are full copies of the game. They just run awfully. Like, the performance is awful. You get 30 FPS if you're lucky. And I think that's where the Switch 2 is going to improve upon massively, because Nintendo have a history of not having a great library of third-party AAA titles. If you, like, in terms of games that would be on PlayStation or Xbox, those kind of mainstream games you never really tend to see on the Nintendo Switch, or just, sorry, Nintendo consoles in general. The Nintendo Switch made the difference. I think that was when you started to see a lot more mainstream games come over to the Switch. Yet again, performance was the problem really, so I'm looking forward to seeing the massive improvement in performance on the Switch 2. Hopefully we can see much more third-party games show up on the Switch and not be held back. Like I say, if you've been up to date with any of the leaks or rumours that have been going around, anything we saw today wasn't really news. Like, we saw a sneak peek at a new Mario Kart. Other than that, we didn't really see anything new. It basically was just confirmation of what we've already seen leaked online. And compared to the Switch 1 trailer, I think it was kind of underwhelming. Nevertheless, I'm super excited for the Switch 2. Let me know what you think down below. And on that note, I will see you next time. Goodbye.